that. Robert, you go ahead and read off as we discussed previously. Just go ahead and do that whenever she's finished.
Okay. Make sure you're not on mute so that I can hear you because I'm not looking at the screen. Okay. President Mennonett?
Here.
VP Cooper? She's here. Treasurer Rawashday?
Here.
Parliamentarian Ray?
Here.
Senator Asbury?
Here.
Senator Bearcat? Senator Botter?
Here.
Senator Brooks?
Here.
Senator Burke? Senator Forster?
Here.
Senator Green? Senator Karn? Senator Long?
Here.
Senator Martinez? Senator Mays? Senator McAdams? Senator Nepal? Senator Ramirez? Senator
Here.
Reed?
Here.
Senator Roberts?
Here.
Senator Rodriguez?
Here.
Senator Stabenow?
Here.
Senator Thomas?
Here.
Senator Williams?
Here.
So is that everyone, Casey? Okay, awesome. So Parliamentarian Ray, go ahead and lay out the rules that we have for today, and that way we can get moving forward.
Okay, so can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so biggest thing is it seems like most of us have done this before, and most of are either university employees or SGA representatives, so doesn't seem like we're gonna have much of a problem, but just make sure if you want to be recognized to speak, we're going to be using the raise hand feature. So if you don't know how to do that, you can click on manage participants, or in my case, it says manage participants. Yours would just be participants. And then at the very bottom on the right, you should be able to raise your hand. Is that correct for everybody? If anybody has a problem, let me know. Okay. So then next thing, we are going to mute everybody while the meeting's going, and then we'll just have the option. If you raise your hand, I'll just unmute, and then you'll still have the option. You'll still have to unmute yourself when the time comes. So I think some of you have already experienced that a little bit. And I'll try to make sure I'm controlling everything along the way and highlighting any videos that are important and stuff. So does anybody have any important questions regarding the meeting procedure? And then Secretary Jennings and President Mennonett are both hosts, so they'll be able to take and do any authoritative figures if necessary. Anything else from you two, President or Secretary? Is that good?
No, I think you got it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. I'm going to be taking the minutes, so I probably won't do much of that.
Yeah, so we'll just go ahead and move forward. Is there anybody who is not a senator or who is in attendance and is in attendance who is here to speak openly for open forum? Okay, sorry, I got muted there. So seeing that there's none, we'll move on to speaker's podium. And so kind of the discussion that the e-board had over the past 2 weeks is that, and thankfully we've had a lot of response for it for the same reasons, but we discussed having an opening up discussion with a lot of people who would be really knowledgeable about a lot of the issues that we're seeing as students, both as us as students and the students that we represent. So over the past few weeks, we've actually gotten to talk, and a lot of our campus leadership who are leading the charge in this crazy time of ours, we've invited them, and much of them are present right now. So you guys welcome, and how we've discussed it previously is to do it kind of similar to our speakers podium, but really we just wanted a chance to have a really good informational session, kind of open up a chance to have questions from a diverse group of leaders and people on campus who can answer probably questions that are most relevant to the locations we're in now, what we're going to be dealing with as students and as students who are dealing with the issues of students and life issues, and then the issues of academics and how that ties into it. So let me see. And for those who we have invited to speak, President Michael Tigwell, Provost Amir Mamaran, Associate Provost Colleen Swain, VP for Student Success, Ona Tolliver, and the Dean of Students, Andrew Petit. That's who we invited. And now we are all in attendance now. Those 5 are all in attendance now. I guess what we can start with is President Tidwell, if you'd like to, and right now you are currently muted, and I don't know if you're working out some points right now, but you feel free to take I would ask maybe a little bit of update on what your office and what the school is looking like now, even since I've talked to you, some of the things that we talked about. And then after that, I feel like one of the best routes we can go on is letting the senators kind of bring questions for the other people in attendance who would be really knowledgeable about a lot of the big concerns that students have. So President Tidwell, you are free to speak. If you, I don't know if my machine's going wrong. That's all crazy.
I'm not sure he can hear us.
Followed by pound.
Huh. I don't know. Let's
Send him
try
a
this.
message.
Can everyone hear me currently? Thumbs up, hand wave. Oh, okay. Thank you, Dr. Swain. You got it. We'll just give it a minute. Sorry about that. I guess technical difficulties are going to ensue with something of this light. So. It's not muted now. President Tidwell, can you?
I'm on my telephone now. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and hopefully you guys can still see me okay as well?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, I don't know if you're getting any feedback. I don't know if my computer mic is working now, but I went ahead and called in as well, so kind of working off my cell phone. You all ready for an update?
Yes, sir.
Great. All right, well, number one, how are y'all doing?
Good, good.
Everybody's okay? I see a couple of thumbs up. Looks like you all are mostly all back at home. Anybody still on campus?
I'm on campus.
I'm on campus. Good. Okay. Good. 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 Well, hopefully you guys are all doing okay. The thumbs up certainly suggests that you guys are. Campus is doing quite well. I can tell you, I'm looking out my window here. It's a beautiful day. A lot of kids outside playing. When I say kids, I'm talking about 3- and 4-year-olds out there playing Frisbee and fishing and having a real good time. So it's a beautiful day here on campus. But we have been up to a number of things over the last few days, last couple of weeks actually. First of all, I really want to thank you guys for being extremely supportive of all of the many changes that we've been going through over the last couple of days. We understand that it's not easy. Josh and I had a chance to speak a few days ago about this. We know it's not easy to get news that spring break's extended and then you're going to come back to online classes, and then online classes are going to be the rest of the year. So we do apologize, but we do thank you guys for understanding and for being really strong student leaders. Certainly you all know that the school year will continue as planned, except for the fact that all classes will be online. I have not spoken with many students about how they are feeling about the current environment, but I would like to get some feedback from you guys on how you're feeling about things. Are your classes going okay? Are there any major issues that we need to know about? And so I don't know who's controlling all of the volumes for the various folks who are on the line today, but again, I would like to get a sense of how you guys are feeling about your current courses in the online setting.
All right, so hello, good afternoon, Dr. Tidwell. I want to thank you personally for your time and effort. I know you and everyone else on your team is working due diligently, and it's much appreciated from you, so thank you, sir. I would like to start off by introducing myself. My name is Aya Rawashte. I'm the treasurer for SGA, and aside from that, I'm a student who's taking 18 hours of schoolwork. So let me tell you, it was not the easiest thing to transition. It's been actually more challenging than I anticipated it to be. I think what I'm having most difficulty with is the communication with my professors. And aside from the communication, it's been a hands-off affair. More like, okay, we're gonna give you the material. You need to learn it by yourself. If you do it, great. If you don't, oh well. And it's just been really hard. I feel like I'm missing out on the face-to-face education that I'm getting versus online. And I know that there's already that disconnect, but it's been harder for me to feel like I'm actually learning and I have the tools and resources to actually be successful in my education versus, hey, we're giving you the worksheets and the textbooks and the solutions. Figure them out, great. If not, email me. So I really don't know what's the best solution. I know everyone's trying to do the best that they can and it's a stressful time, but it's also been very stressful for me as a student because at this point, I feel like my education is being compromised. But I know it's not on purpose. I know we're in a pandemic where our hands were forced.
So I'm sorry that you're dealing with that with your faculty members. How are you reaching out to the faculty? Is it primarily email, telephone, cell phone, through one of the online portals? What methods are you using?
Well, mostly my professors do not give out their phone numbers. I think only one has, but primarily it's been via email, not via online. I mean, online via email, but not in the Canvas page where I think you can send your professor a message and they respond to you online in a chat box. But no, primarily it's been email and via their announcements. They're kind of just like, hey, this is what we've been dealing with. This is the best we can do for you at the moment. I've even had one professor actually give us credit for the rest of the semester because he has deliberately said, my course isn't an online course. I'm sorry, I did the best that I could, but hey, you all get A's on one hand, which is great, yeah, sure, but at the other hand, it's, well, if I have an A and I didn't learn anything, then I really don't deserve that grade, nor do I know what was being taught because I missed out on that opportunity to learn.
I completely understand. What percentage, and I'm asking the whole group this question, are most of your faculty members doing at least a fairly respectable job in getting materials online for you, whether they be videos or other course content, or maybe pointing you to videos from other faculty members that have developed course content that's up on YouTube or other locations? So I see a couple of yeses. Anybody that's not your experience? By and large, Senator Rodriguez, are you having trouble in your courses as well?
I think I've been one of the lucky ones so far. A lot of my classes were easily transferable to online, and I haven't had as much of a struggle as Senator Rawashte has had. But who knows, it's semester, and I might see some difficulties later on with the heavier assignments, especially when the final exams will be taking place. So I'll make sure to get back to you on that.
I'm definitely, I see he's still muted, so hang on. Does he have the option or is he just goofing? There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, I've recognized definitely the level of difficulty is going to be enhanced. It's very challenging to get across some of the engineering concepts that we cover in our courses without having without having a direct contact with the professor. So I've struggled with it a little bit, getting used to turning in assignments in a different manner than we're normally used to as well.
Okay.
I think I gave an example of something recently, and it was, you know, you see those equations right there? Can you read those?
Barely, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that, you know, kind of that idea. Just difficult to see exactly all those subscripts and video modes.
I understand. Is there anything that I can do, or the Provost Memorand is on the line as well, and he oversees all of the academic colleges. Is there anything that we can do, and maybe we can have even some side conversations or email traffic about this if you don't want to share any details via this web feed, but is there anything that you all think we can do to be of assistance in the broader context? Okay. So one of the opportunities that a lot of universities are considering right now, and the provost may be able to speak to this in a little greater detail, is that the Faculty Senate is looking at a number of different potential grading options for students. Obviously, we have our traditional grading structure, A, B, C, D, F, but given the circumstances, there's some conversation here at UT Tyler, but also on many other college campuses about whether or not there should be a little leeway given to students whereby they might be able to choose potentially a pass-fail option for their course. And on some campuses are looking at allowing students to choose pass-fail before the final exam. On other campuses, they are considering whether or not students can choose pass-fail after the final exam, and a little bit of everything in between. And so maybe the provost can speak to some of the options that Faculty Senate's looking at right now, and we'd love to get your feedback on that prior to faculty members sitting down and having their conversation in the next couple of days. Provost Memorand? We can't hear you. Great.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, President. Thank you, Senators, for allowing me to talk to you at this stage. We are looking at a number of options. First of all, and in response to both Senator Rodriguez and Treasurer Wadish, I wanted to make sure that you understand our goal has not changed. Our focus is still student success. And it's just that the conditions have changed right now, but we are in it together. I assure you, this is as much of a challenge to convert, not just at the beginning of the semester, in the middle of the semester, a course that was being taught or a lab that was being taught on face-to-face to online is as much of a challenge for students as it is for the faculty members. So we're all in it together. We want your success, and that's why we want to make sure that we do this conversion smoothly. We provide as much access and resource and support as we can, and also remove as much barrier as you feel there is. So for example, one of the things we have done is, as the President mentioned, and I'm sure by now you know from the FAQ webpage, that we have extended the withdrawal date. But not that we want you to withdraw, but we want to make sure that if you are feeling that that is the only option you have, you will be able to do that. We are also making sure that it's not about the grading. As the Treasurer mentioned, it's not about getting an A, or for me to say, oh, all of you are going to get A, because what you are here for is for learning. And therefore, we want to make sure that you learn at the end of the day. That is our mutual objective. So in order for us to do that, we understand that we need to meet those learning objectives, but to make sure that this semester does not have a negative impact on your qualification for your future career, we want to make sure that we offer options for pass-fail. And therefore, what we are doing is working with the curriculum committee as well as with the Faculty Senate to see how we would be able to offer you options at the end of the semester when the letter grade is issued for those programs that have opportunity to do the pass-fail option. They would be able to do that. But again, the goal is not just to get you through this semester with any grade, making sure that you learn. So in fact, we discussed with the faculty in some of the courses at the graduate level, maybe the only option or the best option would be to get an incomplete and then be able to revisit that at another time. To be frank, we are still struggling. Like, for example, in our engineering, they are thinking about how to convert some of these laboratories to online. And what they're doing is a virtual lab that they're saying the faculty member will go to the lab, they would conduct the experiment, videotape it, and send it to the students. So this is uncharted territory for many of us, both on the teaching side and of course for you all on the learning side. So we want to make sure that we recognize and let us know. I'm available by email, phone, whatever we can do. We are here to help you. Dr. Swain also wants to provide you a set of resources that we would be able to help you. I don't know if I covered or maybe I digressed a little bit. President?
There we go. Thank you, Provost Moran. So that's perfect. Looks like we may have a couple of questions coming up in the chat room. Give me 1 second. Okay, so yeah, thank you, David. He's noting that maybe after a week or so, you all may have a little bit better perspective on what some of the challenges are. So we can certainly revisit this next week and get a few more details. Thank you. Great comment. A couple of other things we're working on right now. One of the major things is all of our students, and we have, I don't know what the exact number is, Josh may be able to help me with this, or Ona, almost 2,000 students that live in student housing on campus. And so we are working right now, as many college campuses are, to ensure that we refund, some people call it a rebate, but we're calling it a refund, any remaining balance, prorated balance on the student housing that's been paid, student board, so dining hall, that has been paid, and then parking fee as well. Those primary, those 3 areas we're working to refund right now. We're still working through some of the technological components of that, so we've not released a statement to the broad campus as of yet, but you all are our student representatives to both ONA and the broader President's Cabinet, and so I did want to share that with you all, that will occur. We don't have an exact date as of yet, but the effective date will be different based on when a student has moved out, and so maybe ONA, I know she's been working with our CFO over the last few days to work out a few of the details. Again, none of the details are set as of yet, but maybe ONA can provide at least an up-to-the-minute report on some of those conversations. Can't hear you, ONA. Not yet.
President Tidwell, if I may, I'd like to go back to your point, and the provost, Dr. Mamoran, has mentioned regarding you guys extending the due dates and being academically available to us students and offering as many resources as you possibly can. I want to thank you both. I know this is a stressful time and everyone's doing the best that they can. And yes, I agree with the provost's point. It's not about just grades. We're here to actually learn and get an education. However, I have a concern with the whole withdrawing thing because I'm in a couple of classes right now. My major is computer information systems, so that's CIS. I'm part of the Solz College of Business. So right now I'm in 2 courses where both of my professors have put us on the same course of action just via online. And it's been challenging because 1, I can't withdraw from this class for 2 reasons. 1, it's only offered in the spring, meaning I would have to take it next year, and that would put me behind a year. The second being is that this class is being taught for the very first time by this new professor. So it's also difficult for this professor as well to navigate that area. So I think it's a struggle on both ends. It's not that they're not doing the best they can. It's just, I think there's a better way of going or navigating it via online, if you will. The second problem, or second issue, if you will, I don't want to say problem, The second issue is that, like I said, this course is only offered once in the spring and it's a brand new course. So what are we able to do from students and faculty part where it's okay, it's a new course, we're new to this, but I feel like I'm missing out because I still have to complete this project with my teammates. And one, we're not at school anymore. Two, I don't have access to the computer lab that I need. And three, not everyone is able to meet at the same time because we're all at home right now and we still have a project due as if we were in person. So I think that's really at least my issue from my perspective, is that we're still on a business as usual course, but I don't think it's going to work out very well as our course has shifted to online. So how do you take an in-person course and transition it to online with the resources that you need in person?
We certainly understand that the challenge that you are experiencing, and we again are very sorry that we're here. As the provost noted, there are a handful of courses, engineering, some of the sciences, and obviously computer science being one of the sciences, that are difficult to transition to the online format and maintain the same learning objectives and same learning goals that were set out at the beginning of the semester. Our hope is that every faculty member will continue to work with their students at the same level of proficiency, but with also a level of grace that they started the semester with as well. We do know that professors are different. Some of them have a higher tolerance for uncertainty than others do, but the expectation is that they will deliver on the learning goals and objectives, whether that's in a more heavily technological way, or whether that's sharing information, again, that other professors have developed over the years, or making sure that every student just simply has a packet of information that they have access to via the library. The expectation, as the provost noted, is that we will give you the education that you've signed on for. There are many things that have occurred, and all of you are in different programs or different point in your similar programs. Every faculty member is going to address these challenges in a slightly different way. So if we can talk offline, we can get into more detail about your specific situation, and maybe even sit down with the dean or the department chair and the faculty member if need be, and see if we can work out a way to better address your concerns.
Give me just a second. We have a couple senator questions. I'm going to let Senator Williams go real quick if she's ready.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Senator Williams. I'm with the College of Education Psychology, and I want to say that my professors are doing a great job with switching online. I'm enrolled in 18 hours, and being in the education, I'm an education major. It makes it very difficult because I'm in student teaching half the time. And they've just really worked well. They do online Zoom office hours, which are amazing. And even though we do have only group projects, they still make it work. The only thing, my question is about the pass-fail system. How will that work with students' GPAs for graduation with honors and that sort of thing?
So I'll let the provost take that, but I'll give him a chance to unmute his button while I speak to it very briefly. Every student will have an option, so it won't be required. And that's assuming that that's the direction Faculty Senate decides to go in. But again, I'll let the provost speak to that in more detail.
Sure. We are looking at different options, but basically it would be an option for the student to be able to get pass-fail. So it's not going to be mandatory for all the students to exercise that. As I just responded to one of the senators, this would be an option for the student to decide whether or not this would work for them. In fact, Dr. Swain is working on a pros and cons from the perspective of the students to be able to see if I'm a student and I have been offered this option, should I take that option or not? And that's the way you would look at it and see if I am, for example, going to plan to go into the law program, maybe this is not for me because that would be affecting whether or not I can get into the to the law program, or for pre-med, certain courses like that. But your direct question about affecting the GPA, it would be neutral on affecting GPA. So basically a pass-fail neither raise your GPA nor lower it. So that's why you would have an option by looking at what your expectation is for that course. How would you want to do that? This also, the assumption is, not the assumption, the plan is to make sure that it doesn't affect financial aids. And therefore, of course, if you still fail the course, it will be no different whether you have failed the course or you got an F from the letter grade. But basically, it should not affect your financial aid either by having a pass-fail option. Dr. Swain, is this something that I'm missing?
One of the things that, you know, we do want to just make sure that students always make informed decisions, because we don't want anyone to have this come back and be harmful. For instance, in education, you would really not want to take the pass-fail, because for your certification, you have to show a grade of C or higher in order to get your licensure. And so we have these charts, or we're working on these charts to do that. But I also want to talk about our goal is to help you, and we're going to get better. It's 2 days into the online education. And, you know, at first, I think many of us thought, okay, it's just going to be for a week. We can make it work for a week. But now we know it's for the rest of the semester. And so, you know, there's some different strategies that are having to be taken. We hope that that things improve and that you really get the experience you want. But if you need to take an incomplete does not mean that you have to wait until next spring. When an incomplete is done, that means that faculty member works with that student and says, okay, here's when we think we can reasonably get this done, and have that done. The policy of UT Tyler, if you look in the catalog, is that students have a year to make up for a incomplete, but you don't have to wait another semester. You know, and again, I think it's important that you work with your faculty member, but also keep your advisor and work with your advisor on those decisions. So again, our goal is to make sure that everybody has the right decisions, or the right information to make the best decision for him or her. Although we extended the withdrawal date, that's not our end goal. Our end goal is for that learning to take place, for you to be able to make sure that you're making progress the next semester. But if an incomplete is needed, or if some alternative, it's not about also making you wait for a year. That is absolutely not what we would do. We're also, I do want you to know, yesterday I sat in a meeting of faculty, a Zoom meeting for 2 hours, as faculty just brainstormed, here's the issue I'm having, how would you handle this? And faculty are going back and forth and talking about different ways that they've thought about doing it, and what, you know, the feedback on that. So I can't remember who said, it should be better next week. I'm really hopeful it will be very much better next week for everyone.
Senator Ramirez.
Okay, so I had like a quick question for anyone that would know this, but I'm planning on transferring like for fall semester of 2020. And so for my transfer option, I'm trying to get into engineering. And so they recommend that I have a 4.0. So how am I supposed to show that I have like a 4.0 if it's just a pass-fail option system? Like, how can I prove that in this calculus class that I'm taking right now that I passed, because I need that course to do like calculus 3 and all that stuff?
Let me tell you that for pass-fail, also, just so that you manage your expectation, in different programs, it would be different. So for example, a C in certain engineering courses may be the minimum that you need to be able to pass, and therefore a D would not be considered a pass. Now, if pass-fail would not affect, as I said earlier, your GPA, but it may affect, if you're going to transfer to an engineering program, they would need to look at your calculus, for example, and say, did you meet their standard? And I think they will come back to us and say, does a pass mean a C or better, or does it mean a D or better? And as long as it's a C or better, I don't think that that would have any impact. But my suggestion would be before you take that option, you make sure that you connect with your advisor and make sure that they check to so that you would not make a wrong decision at this stage.
I think that's great advice. And in each of these situations, whether you're looking to transfer or you're going to complete your degree here at UT Tyler, talking to your advisor here at UT Tyler will be very important. For example, Senator Ramirez, in your case, talking to your potential advisor at your new institution. Are you a CAP student? Are you looking to go to UT Austin? Just shake a head, yes, no? Yes, okay. So talking to whoever the advisor is in the engineering program at UT Austin would be very, very important. Ona, are you able to get your audio working okay now to talk about student reimbursements?
Here's the test. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Fabulous. All right, wonderful. Thank you guys so much for giving us an opportunity to visit with you about what's going on campus right now. So one of the things that we as a university wanted to do was to do what we could to improve safety of our students and the well-being of our campus community. And so, as you know, we extended the spring break in order to really evaluate what's going on in the world and to figure out what the best response would be. And as we have received additional information from both the CDC and our local health authorities, it has become clearer to us that the best way to do a better job of making sure that we don't spread the COVID-19 is to limit our contact with one another, not just social distancing, but really eliminating as much as possible the number of opportunities that people have to engage with one another one-on-one and certainly within close distances. So the decision was made to encourage our students who could to return home and to leave the environment that we have for set up for our students in the residential communities. And so we are aware that there are students who have no place to go, that are unable to go home to their countries because the borders either have been closed or there's not opportunities for transportation, and there are other limitations certainly that students have that would require them to be there, to remain here and not be able to return home. So for the students who are able to return, and we hope that that is a significant number, that is with intent, we are working with the Dean of Students, Dean Petit, and Dr. Swain to make sure that we can address any issues that might cause you to feel that you need to be here as a student. And we know there are a number of limitations, everything from students who really need to work. We are not trying to crash the economic system in Tyler. We rely upon our students to make sure that deliveries are made, and I'm driving through. So just so you guys know, I pick up dinner often. And so I'm grateful that we have still opportunities for our students to be employed because you guys need that. We know that you are working and oftentimes supporting yourselves. The other piece of that is that Dr. Laird, who is our Vice President for Business Affairs, is working to find a resolution to refunds for both the campus, housing, and the meal plan. Not every student is the same. So knowing that there are all types of financial aid, there are all types of awards, we are still bound by federal guidelines with regard to financial aid. And so we have to make sure that we are appropriately reimbursing students where necessary. But do know that Dr. Laird is really working hard to make sure that we accomplish this quickly so that for the students who are able to return, that it's not an additional burden to them while they're waiting for that particular refund. So just be aware that we are working diligently to make the process of moving out of the residence hall easy, to accommodate the students who need to remain, and to make sure that students receive the reimbursements that are due to them that we hopefully will be beneficial to them. What questions can I answer for you guys? Dean Petit is also online. Housing reports through him as well. So if there are questions, we're happy to try to tackle them now.
Can you hear me or?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time for speaking with us. I just have a question about the housing aspect of this. I live in University Pines, yes, and I've been emailed from them saying that we're still having to pay the lease for the next 2 months, and that there's an early termination fee. So I don't know if reimbursements are only for the other 4 housing facilities, or kind of what's the plan for University Pines? Because from the emails that we're getting from housing is that we're going to be reimbursed, and then from University Pines we're being told that we have to pay an early termination fee and XYZ.
Sure. Yeah, appreciate that question. I'm glad you asked. University Pines, we have an agreement with University Pines, who is what's called a private, through what is called a public-private partnership, or a P3. Many institutions around the country and abroad have partnerships with external entities that provide housing for them. And so University Pines is one of those properties. It's been here for a long time, and we operate very much under the same umbrella of them being a university housing facility, but they are a private entity. And so because of that, when you choose to live at University Pines, many of the residents there go through the same process that you would if you lived in an apartment complex within the city, which means that you have a lease with them, which is a binding contract. Now, we have an agreement with them to provide housing for our students. And so, as I mentioned earlier, they are abiding by our request to encourage students who can to move home. And for students who can remain, they're going through the exact same process that will be vetted by Dean Petit to determine whether or not students would have a real reason to stay that we can't help you mitigate. Right. So in this process, we are working again with Dr. Laird and the leadership of CLV, which is the parent company for University Pines, to come to some type of a solution that will hopefully keep us from having to burden our students with regard to that financial obligation. But again, this is a private company, and so we're going to make every effort that we can to come to a resolution. But just know that it is very complex. It is one that we are thinking through very thoroughly and consulting with the appropriate individuals, both at the university and system level, to make sure we're making the right decision for both our students and our partnership with the corporation.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Senator Brooks.
So first off, I want to say thank you so much to housing. I don't think anyone really expected all of this to happen, or for students to need to move back home so quick. I'm actually one of the students that kind of needs to stay on campus for housing, and was planning on that. I had already rented out my old room, and like with a contract and everything, which can't really be declined because now they no longer have anywhere else to go. And I was wondering if you knew a timeline on when you would have a response to whether students qualify for needing to stay, and then if you have that response, or like on the timeline of when you'd be able to provide that information.
Dean Petit can answer that question for you.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. So we are in the process now of reviewing the requests, and you will hear from us very soon. A lot of times we're going to review the information and reach out to you to just get a little bit more and make sure that we're being supportive of you and what you need if you are going to stay on campus. So I would expect that you would receive first an email from the Residence Life Office in the next 48 hours. And in that email, we may request to schedule a phone call with you to talk through what you need and make sure that we're supportive of everything that you have. Obviously, being on campus is a very awesome experience, and I'm very invested, and we're very invested in your success. And if living on campus is the option that is best for you, we want to look at that and make sure that we're partnering with you for your success in the rest of the semester. So definitely in the next 48 hours, you'll have some form of communication, and then we're going to move very quickly to get you the proper responses. If you have any concerns in the meantime, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I've had conversations with quite a few students to help them understand the challenges that we face and that we share together in terms of managing this situation. And so if there's any questions that you have, if after you leave today you want to talk with me a little bit more, feel free to reach out to me. President Menon has my cell phone number, and he's welcome to share that with you. I'd be happy to talk with you at any time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Senator Asbury.
Hey, my name's Joel Asbury. I just wanted to thank you guys for all the work that you've been doing. So far as my classes go, I think that all my professors are doing as good as they possibly can. I reached out to a good amount of students like right before this meeting. Most of them are freshmen. I'm a freshman senator. And they all seem to be relatively understanding about the studying part, like the actual physical classes aspect, understanding there are going to be some limitations there with online classes. The only question that I got from pretty much everybody that I asked was about the refunds. So I'm very thankful that you guys are reaching out to us and trying to work through the best solution for that. I just wanted to make sure 100%, because I told them, but I just told them whatever I heard in this meeting to answer their questions about the refunds. So are you guys still working through the details, as in there's a chance that there won't be a refund option given? Or would I be able to tell the people that are asking me, like, hey, do you know if we're getting a refund or not? I could tell them, like, there is going to be some form of a refund given, like, unequivocally. I just wanted to ask a question of clarification on that. And that's all.
Sure. The answer is yes, there will be a refund. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, so yes, there will be a refund. But this is the second part of that answer, and this is just as important as the first part. Depending on how the student was funded, they may or may not receive a refund. For example, if a student's parents paid all of their housing, all of their room, all of their board, all their parking fees, then they would get 100% refund, no problem. When I say 100%, I mean 100% of the prorated refund. If a student had loans and they still have to pay back their loans, similarly, that student would get responsible for the Stafford loan or whatever else it was that they were allotted. If a student, however, received a presidential fellowship, for example, that's a full ride scholarship. That student would not be entitled to any refund because they didn't pay any room or board for the university. However, if they paid for parking, then they would simply get refunded for the prorated parking fee. So it all depends on what category a student falls into, and that's what's taking so much time right now. We have to make sure that we are appropriating those resources ethically and legally. We can't give a refund to a student who didn't pay, or give a refund to a student maybe that received a grant, for example, or maybe a scholarship from some other source, because those dollars may not be entitled. They may not be entitled to those specific dollars. So we just want to make sure we're doing the right thing for the right students, and that's what's taking us a little bit more time than we would like. But again, the short answer is yes. If a student paid for room, board, or parking, they will receive eligibility. They will have eligibility for a refund. But then we go to the second portion of that question, and that is, how did you pay? Because that's equally as important as the first portion. Is that clear for everybody? Are there any questions that I need to clarify there? I'm happy to do so.
Senator Forrester.
So I used to work at the Cowan Center, and as of, I believe, Monday morning or afternoon, she said that we couldn't come to work anymore. And then she said that I would be put on an email list to try to get another job for the school, just doing it at home. What's like the process of it? Do I have to email in, or was she's done enough? And what kind of jobs are they? And how many hours would be allowed to work? Full 18, or is it less than that? That kind of thing.
Let me ask a quick question. How many of you fall into that boat as well? Excuse me, you had a job on campus and you've been told that you can't come to campus to continue to do that job, but maybe there'd be an opportunity for you to work at a distance from home or coffee shop, or, okay, so a couple folks, 3, okay, looks like a few more as well. How many of you have a new assignment? You have a new job on campus, somebody's reached out to you, so 2 of you. David, nothing yet? Nothing yet, Senator Barakat? Have you been connected with?
I was an assistant at University Pines, so I don't really know if that counts.
Say that again, please.
I was asked to self-terminate.
Okay.
What's that? Oh.
but I wasn't given any option or anything like that to telework.
Secretary Jennings, what about you? How did you find your new assignment?
I work in the one-stop service center, and so now all of us are working from home using the live chat function as well as emails so that we can continue to log hours and still help students even from home.
Okay, thank you. Senator Williams, what about you? How did you find your new assignment?
So I just kind of switched fields. I work for the Dean's Office for the College of Education and Psychology. So they just put me in like a different role, but still doing stuff for the college.
Okay. So Senator Forrester, please send me an email just at mtidwell@uttyler.edu, mtidwell@uttyler.edu. And remind me of this. You probably, I'm not sure if they passed your information along to Human Resources or not, but it's the Human Resources Department that's organizing all of this. And so I'll get you connected with them and make sure that, again, assuming you still want to hours a week, that you have an opportunity to do so. We're doing everything we can to make sure that every student that wants to continue to work has an opportunity to continue to work. We're not promising that we'll be able to place every student, but we're going to do our best to do so. That leads me to a second point that I was going to talk about anyway. The federal government has allowed us to pay any student who is a federally qualified work-study student. So if you have a federal qualification for work-study, we are allowed to continue to pay you. Our first preference is that you continue to work. And so we do have to make sure that if we have a job for you, that you are working. But if there's a situation where we don't have an opportunity for you, we are still allowed to pay you your average number of hours that you've worked so far this semester. So that's something that the federal government has allowed us to do. But those are for federally qualified work-study students. If you are a student worker, that's a different category. You may work with other kids who are work-study students, but if you're just simply a student worker, not the federal government, but we pay you from our own budget, that does not apply to you. But we are still trying to find you other opportunities on campus to work. And so, Senator Forster, that's why I said send me your just a quick email, and I'll get you connected with HR. They'll look at your status and then see what they can do to get you placed with another department on campus.
So another thing on that then, I was working for the campus, but I also had a work study that I don't know if it was ever used or not. I told my boss I had it, but I don't know if it was ever used. So I guess, and I'm also hoping that the kids who have a work study, that the ones who don't are prioritize a little bit more on trying to find something for them to do, and the work study kids are able to, since you're able to pay them without having to actually work, they would fall in the second category, to where if we can't find, if there's more work than needed for those who don't have work study, then it would spill onto them. But if there's not, the work study kids shouldn't take a job from someone who doesn't have it.
Yes, and that's a good point you make. There are a number of factors in there, like skill sets. For example, some kids have computer skills, for example, others don't. And maybe a job where they have to have certain kinds of, they may need to be able to operate Photoshop, for example. We do have kids that work in our marketing department. So there are a lot of different factors, and that's why HR has been assigned to help every student do what they can to find a proper role. So I'll get you connected with our HR department, and they'll do everything they can to assist you.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Bearcat.
Hey guys, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I just had a quick question about the work study thing again, just to clarify. So I've not been contacted by anybody yet. Is there something, a process that I need to do? Like, do I need to go to HR, ask them what the plan is, or is there something else that I should be doing?
Let me look real quick at our website. I think it had the details there, but let me verify. It should be on the coronavirus website. Give me a second.
Sure.
Okay, yeah. So what we'll do is we'll send the campus, all students, another email. But on the frequently asked questions for student workers, it has details there telling you to call Human Resources. And everything I just told you, they'll tell you as well. But again, they'll make sure that you have the opportunity to work. Again, we're not guaranteeing anything for just simple student workers, but we'll do everything we can to assist you. But we'll make sure that you all get another communication about that.
Sir, thank you.
But send me an email as well, like Senator Forster, and I'll just email the director of HR and get you guys connected.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
M. Tidwell, TIDWELL, @uttyler.edu.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Treasurer Rawaste.
Yes, thank you. And I have a question regarding the prorated refunds. And I don't know who's best to answer this, but part of that prorated refund, are you guys going to include the fees that students are charged in their tuition, such as, you know, the basic computer access fee, the recreational sports and facility fee, or, you know, the records fee, medical service fees?
I'll take that question. We have looked very closely at all of those various fees, and we've worked very closely with the University of Texas system and all of our other campuses as well. And we want to make sure that we are as closely aligned in this process as possible with all of the other UT campuses, not just the academic campuses, but the health campuses as well. And so we came to an agreement that those would be the main 3 fees that we would refund, because there's consistency across every campus for those 3 fees. Again, housing, dining, and then parking. And then the challenge, the reason why we had agreement on those 3 fees is because the challenge on the other side with many of the other fees is that those resources have been allocated to higher talent. So we've, Dr. Petit, or Mr. Petit, not Dr. Are you, Andrew?
No,
Doctor?
Mr.
Okay, I didn't think so. All right. At some point soon, I'm sure. He's got a number of folks in a number of different areas that report to him who rely on those fees for funding either their salary lines or their positions. And so, or salary lines rather, or the various components that operate under them in their position. So there are many things that have already been pre-funded, and so to refund those other fees would cause the university a great deal of harm when those people are still here working on behalf of the student body.
So I actually have a question, and we're talking about fees, and I just to bring it up, it's something that at the beginning of the semester that the SGA was tasked for going and moving forward with the several fee increases proposed by the athletic and rec sports facilities. I just want to ask, and I've spoken at length with some people about it, but how do you, President Tidwell or VP Tolliver, how do you guys say or think we should move forward with those? If you have any advice or anything moving forward? And that could, whoever has the best insight into how we should move forward with those.
Well, our recommendation, and it's just that at this point, it's a very strong recommendation, is that we hold off on moving forward with any referendums for any adjustments in the student fees. We do understand that there's a large contingent of the student body that would like more services in the rec center, and certainly to do more to fund our Division II athletics program. And then I know you all were looking at a couple of other fee adjustments as well. But given many of the great questions that you all have had today, and a lot of the uncertainty that so many of our students and their parents have, I don't feel good, and I know Ona feels the same way. I don't feel good about putting forward or asking you all to put forward a referendum for an adjustment, an upward adjustment in any of the fees that we currently have on campus. So again, it's a strong recommendation. If you all feel like the timing is right, and this is something that we certainly should still do, we would entertain that conversation. But we've had many discussions about it, and again, we strongly recommend that we wait at least a year before we reintroduce any adjustments in the fee structure.
And if I may add, Dr. Tidwell, I know that one of the conversations, can you guys hear me okay? Good. So one of the conversations that we had is the timing of the actual referendum versus when the actual fees would go into place. And so I think that as we return in the fall semester, we might want to discuss it at that time. If things have settled down a little bit and we feel confident that we can do the work that's necessary to educate our campus community, it is something that student government might want to entertain for the fall election cycle or for the spring 21 election cycle. So I would have to say that that's a conversation that needs to happen when we come back in the fall after we know more information about how the institution is recovering, how our students are recovering, and the appropriateness of considering moving forward with the fee increase proposal and referenda. But that would not be done without your guidance and insight through Student Government Association. But the implementation, the timing of the implementation and the application of the fee would be a year out from the time frame that we would introduce a referendum. So I think it's worth us having another conversation when we return in the fall.
It might also be worth us having the people asking for the monetary changes. It might be worth having them come back and speak to us again and kind of see what they choose as well. They might have their own inputs as well. They may say, "Hey, no, forget it now. We don't. It's fine."
You're so hopeful. I think that's great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of them was for rec sports. Right now, they're not even open and they have so it may be an opportunity for them to save up some of their funds in the process. So, I wouldn't know. They definitely do a good job. So.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's important for you to hear directly from them. It's not an ideal situation, but we're more concerned about the safety and well-being of our students than we are some of the other things that have come to our attention lately with regard to fee increases. So we think it's the best thing to do right now is to hold off on that. But again, if student government would like to hear from them and you guys would like to move forward with it and feel that it's something that would be beneficial to the student body, we are not going to stand in your way.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Does anybody have anything more related on housing, student policy, student success, anything on that like?
I just wanted to let everyone know, Vice President Tolliver put that students will be able to stay on campus until a decision is made about the request to remain. So if students are curious about that, or if you are a student or know of a student who has sought a request to be able to stay, they are able to be in the residence halls at this time until we're able to determine what the next steps are. So I think that's a very good point to bring up, and just to let everyone know, until that final decision has been made as to how we're going to move forward, students may remain in the residence halls.
That's fantastic news, because I was concerned about that. We had talked about that in our e-board meeting, and that was definitely something we were considering looking into. So that's good to hear. I have one other thing that we haven't necessarily talked about, but we've hit on it slightly, is major projects that would normally require hands-on and group interaction is something. I don't know if Dr. Memoran would want to come on, or any idea how we're handling those situations? Because there's a few projects that I currently have that I don't know how we'll complete them.
We understand that. The faculty understand that and are working on that. They, again, we've been discussing different ways that the student learning outcomes could be met in different ways. And so please know that your faculty, your department chairs, and even your deans are diligently working on this. And we'll get back with you soon.
Awesome. I figured as much.
Andy, do you think you could hit on the question that Savanaugh had, or Ona even, concerning the counties and the closures in the certain counties and students coming back?
Yeah, I would say if you would contact me offline, let's go ahead and discuss that and see what might be the best course of action. And if you'd like, I can just provide my email address now. It's A, and then my last name, which is Pettee. Send me an email and we'll work out what the best course of action is for you individually.
Yes, thank you. And the senators have any more questions regarding again student success, student issues, anything like that? Academics, fees, anything?
I have one other student came and asked me. They said that there are certain prerequisite tests that are canceled, and this is not an engineering student, but they said that there are certain tests that normally they would have to take to move on to the next semester and qualifications. I assume there's plans and things being worked on in those cases, because some of those things they won't, if they're not going to be able to take that test, they're not normally able to move on to the next level in their education. I see Dr. Memorand there.
Yes, certainly. We are trying to make sure that there is no impact on progression to your degree. So I give you an example. We have been working in nursing with healthcare providers, with the folks in the accreditation agencies to make sure that either through virtual simulation will provide the necessary credentials for students to go from one level to the other level. So every department is charged with making sure that there are no barriers, there are no issues in terms of progression to completion while we are trying to be true to the learning objectives of that program. And because of that, I think there are certain programs that have more challenges. Music, arts may have more challenges, and engineering and sciences than some other programs. But all of them, they try to make sure that it would not be an issue in terms of the progression. And also in response to Treasurer mentioned earlier about the course, we are also going to be looking at if a course has been offered only in the spring, I think it would be unfair to the student who may have decided to either withdraw or not been able to complete the course for any reason because of this conversion. We owe it to the students to make sure that we increase our offering next time, be it fall or summer, so that you would be able to take that as well.
Fantastic.
Uh-oh.
I want to thank the provost again. Thank you for your understanding in this very difficult time. It makes me feel like there's actually people who actually still care and not just trying to scramble around in a pandemic and every man for himself kind of attitude. So it's much appreciated. Thank you. I also want to add on to the whole academic success issue as a whole, is that what additional resources can we let students excuse me, let me say it in this way. What additional resources can we provide students to know that, hey, yes, your courses are online, but we have the tools to make sure that you're successful? I know that the PAST Center, if I'm not mistaken, sent out an email, but I'm talking about resources that are beyond your basic courses, you know, English, history, political science, math courses, stuff like that. For instance, if I need help in this database design class that I'm in, and my tutor was let go, and my professor is still giving us a project, what other resources can we provide students who are in this situation that don't have the basic classes but need help?
I'll let Dr. Swain talk about the resources. I just wanted to make sure that we're also using this opportunity to enhance our online tutoring. And actually, this might be an opportunity for some of the graduate students that may have lost their on-campus jobs to be able to serve in that tutoring capacity. We are working hard to make sure we recruit them. Dr. Swain?
There are a list of resources. Every student at the university is enrolled in Canvas 101. And if you will go into Canvas 101, you will see a list of resources that we've been pushing out. One of those is Upswing, which is the 24/7 tutoring service that has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of classes that are supported. So not just the lower level. We are working with departments, and actually departments themselves are working to try to find students, their existing students who were in a job, for instance, that required being face-to-face and they can't do that remotely. And so if they're qualified, to have them move over to help with advanced and increased tutoring. And so again, your departments are working on this. I've sat in on many of the discussions, and it's kind of the bad thing of having this 3 days in where all of the details are not fully worked out. But I would encourage you to use Upswing. It is a 24/7 online tutorial. Provost memorandum, and it has, allocated money in my area so that we can pay for the increased usage. And so it's not just for those primary classes.
Okay, thank you both so much.
So I think just to cover everyone, I think we got a lot of things covered. I think just to keep it moving and keep these people who take this extra time out of their afternoon, as it's been so crazy and as we've hit on so much, it's been crazy. I think now that we've gotten so many things covered, for you guys who may have any additional questions, I know President Tidwell put his email down there. Dr. Mimran also said that you guys can contact him. But I think a lot of these people are very dedicated to, and I have to give my praise to them for doing as much as they do for us in regular times, but now in these crazy times. So my thanks goes out to these people. But if there aren't any more pertinent questions, and I just want to make sure I'm courteous of your guys' time. If President Tidwell or any of the other guests who are on here would like to say any more, but I think we can wrap it up and we can get you guys going, because I know you guys would like to go have some rest after what I know you guys have had a crazy day. So.
Thank you for the invitation. I did see there was one quick question about commencement. We have postponed commencement to September 11th and 12th, September 11th and 12th. We're still working on the details of what the ceremonies will look like. It may end up being that we just do everything on September 11th or everything on the 12th. But again, those are the two dates that have been selected by the committee, the commencement committee. These events will occur in the Cowan Center because there's a pretty good chance that it'll be far too hot here in East Texas to be outside. So they will be in the Cowan Center, our traditional ceremonies, but do expect that there'll be more details about that coming fairly soon. Again, thank you all so much for the opportunity to be here. I know I speak for all administrators, in particular cabinet members, when I say that you guys have done a great job of managing the concerns of the broader student body, and know that you can always reach out to us if you have questions. We're always happy to come on and either do this via the Zoom or answer emails when we get back in the fall. Again, we're always happy to come out and spend time with you there as well. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. So I thought that was great, you guys. Let me see if I can transition to put let me see. So if I put my thing on the screen, will I be able to, sorry, you guys just have to give me a second. Can you guys see the agenda now?
Yeah.
You can? Awesome. That helps a lot, I hope. So moving on to officer reports. I guess I'll start off. I wanted to touch on a few things, and I was going to first off touch on commencement because that was something that Senator Asbury asked about. First off, we were in a meeting and we just got briefed shortly. I and Senator Long and Senator Abato were briefed on a lot of the movements they're doing for commencement. I would say and assure you guys, as he said, September, I want to say it was the 12th. September 12th is the day they moved it to. They are and they have considered, as far as I recollect, they're moving on and allowing summer students to take part in those commencement ceremonies if they so choose to. So I think out of all the crazy things that have come out of this, that's something we can look at as a bonus, because now summer students will have a closer to dedicated ceremony for them to be able to take part in. So that'll be really cool. It is a bummer that it's going to be moved. It is a bummer that they spent a lot of this time doing spring commencement planning, and then we did kind of get it dropped down from us. However, we can't continue forward with those things, so it is just how it's going to be. Other than that, as far as what I'm doing, we were in the midst of doing things like this, planning this. I want to commend you guys. That was awesome. Awesome test run of what Zoom meetings will look like for the next month and a half, and it was awesome to have such esteemed people to be here, and that it went so well, and that everyone was really knowledgeable and everyone was really courteous of the different situations. So a little, I think I could do a little clap emoji, but I don't know where to find that at right now. But sending tons of clap emojis right now. Other than that, I'm finishing up stuff from UT SAC. We're actually putting our last draft into place, and then as far as how going down there to Austin will be for me, we're not sure, but it probably won't be going to Austin physically. It'll be going down to Austin by sending my voice down there. But it's going to be a fun turn. It has been a really interesting turn of events, but I just want you guys to know that I'm going to be calling and doing as many Zoom meetings as I can to keep you guys updated as much as I can. And it's gonna be a little crazy, but it wouldn't be much fun if it wasn't crazy at times. So Vice President Cooper.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Yeah, okay. Hi everybody. I hope that y'all are being safe and staying healthy. I am currently in downtown Tyler. I'm working on obtaining an internship. So this is not my house. I don't own this. Anyway, on a personal note, things that we're working on at the university before it, closed. The search committee that I was on for the assistant director of student engagement has come to a close. Advisor Neves, am I allowed to announce who it is? Okay. Camry Tharp was chosen as the new assistant director of student engagement. She will oversee leadership and service and a ton of other things. But so that leaves another position open, but we will look at that in the future. And then I'm working from home for both of my jobs, that being SGA and community engagement. And then things that I'm working on now is all of our events have been canceled, so big sad, but or at least our in-person events. And so Secretary Jennings and I are working on trying to find virtual ways to have events, whether it be over Zoom, which I know it sounds crazy, but we're trying to think of anything we can. I know the Office of Student Engagement is doing Kahoot challenges, so something like that, just to keep everybody engaged and, happy, because this is sad. I don't like being at home. I want to see y'all. It sucks. Another thing is the Dean of Students office and myself are working on the finals week bags. And so usually my committee would sit in various locations on campus and pass out finals week bags the week before finals. But because we're not going to be there, the Dean of Students came up with a great idea to send them, mail them out. And so none of it is finalized yet. We're still in the planning process, but what will probably happen is we'll send out an email saying, hey, to the student body saying, hey, this is what's gonna be in it. This is what a finals week bag is from SGA. If you want to sign up to get one, sign up, your address, whatever, we'll mail you one. So that's cute. Let me see. And then just still doing my other duties like scheduling speakers for our next meeting, which a lot of the speakers that were here today we're gonna be for next week's meeting. So TBA on next week, but that's it.
Secretary Jennings, my apologies. It didn't unmute like I thought it would.
Hello, guys. What have I been working on this week? I updated the website to make sure that it shows that we're going to be on Zoom for the rest of the semester. We got that email written and sent out to the student body so that people would be informed. I canceled all of our in-person events on Engage. I moved all of our meetings online on Engage. I've been sort of working with VP Cooper on how we're going to do our events because we've been working really hard on the banquet and we still want to have an opportunity to recognize you guys for your hard work. So there will be something, we're not sure what yet, but we do feel like you guys really deserve that recognition because we've worked really hard this semester. And then lastly, I have been just, trying to maintain the groove of things, still getting stuff done with regards to the website and social media and making sure that our students are just as informed as they can be.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And just to let you guys know, Secretary Jennings is an awesome Instagram social media guru because sometimes I go on there and I'm like, wow, who designed this thing? A professional software designer. Oh, wait, no, it's our resident software, media, marketing, advertisement connoisseur, Secretary Jennings. So you guys give little clapping emojis in the subscription, hit subscribe to her social media because she's awesome and do that. So Treasurer Rawashde. Yes, Josh did it.
So you can't unmute yourself? Okay. I was just checking. I thought once I clicked something, it would let people, but okay.
Uh-oh. We'll get it figured out here. There it goes. There it goes.
Okay,
My apologies.
Great. No problem. Third time's the charm. Hi, guys. I want to thank everyone for participating in this meeting this afternoon. I know we're all working from home and stuff, and it's a stressful situation, but it's nice to see that we're all coming together. We all have the same concerns, and we all want to do what's best for the student body. So I want to thank everyone for putting the time and effort to being here. So what I've been doing is I've been reviewing, updating, and creating a new SGAC policy. I will have my committee review that as well. If you guys can send me an email or text, my phone number's on the Canvas page where we can correspond regarding that. If we can meet at the same time on Mondays, that would be great. If not, let me know. I've been updating the budget, or I've been trying to. Right now I'm having some technical difficulties just trying to access the share drive for those documents that we have. But for the most part, I've been trying to update the budget as much as possible. And I want to determine how much funds are left. It could possibly be used for senator projects or swag in the future years. Josh, Advisor Needs, has also helped me trying to transition my position via online. It's challenging for me because my job is to interact with students and give them their requested funds for their student organizations and make sure that everything is going according to plan. But seeing as we're all online and all events have been canceled, it's been a bit of a challenge. So we're still trying to navigate the area. It's only been 3 days. I don't know. I'm also researching other institute on how they deal with their SGA money practices, as well as Advisor Needs has also given me the idea of creating an SGAC tutorial video. And so that's something I'm considering doing, but we'll see how it goes or how the rest of the semester plays out, just so students who have an idea or want to be a part of the committee can get like a quick snippet of it.
Awesome. Thank you. And moving on to Parliamentarian Ray. Look at that. You're already unmuted.
Hey, okay. I guess, so I was, y'all bear with me. Thank you. I'm sorry if I didn't get you unmuted in time on something. I think everybody did a fantastic job first off. Also, just so y'all know, the e-board has been working hard. All these faces that you're seeing, they've been working all the last 2 weeks. I know you guys probably been doing the same. So awesome. I'm really happy to see that we have this many people. I have a question. We have 2 people in the group, JT Foot, and then one other person down the way, I guess, Abby Barron. Those people aren't senators, right?
No.
Okay, I was just making sure. I was trying to count for quorum, and I didn't know if they were senators that I just wasn't aware of or something. So just double checking. So this week and last week, I've worked diligently on our rules. Obviously, we've come to a few circumstances here where we realize we didn't exactly have rules set up for this kind of thing. Like, what are the rules for this meeting? It's online. Is it the exact same? So we've been working on that. I've been working on updating some of that situation. We had a circumstance where the executive board kind of had to make a decision. We didn't really know if it was something we could decide on. We went ahead and made that decision. Advisor Neves went and agreed with it. It was just to move the elections, which, since some of us are up for re-election, that could be potentially a conflict of interest, but we worked on making those decisions as best of our abilities. When it comes to the rules, so I've been making massive changes, not changes so much, but improvements, just editing and things like that, making sure that the rules actually work out when you read them and things like that. So hopefully we'll get our rules passed. Josh Neves can verify. I think we should be putting that up at midnight, and then there will be voting on it. So I guess we get to vote on it ourselves as well, right, as students? Okay, so make sure you vote to approve those. It'll be very helpful, and it'll give us the opportunity to change. Again, first thing I want to do when we get them approved and passed and start to instate them is I want to update them and make them make some improvements even further beyond that. So we've made a lot of progress on that. I've met with Josh Neves a few times, and then even a couple of the board members. So I think at some point I will need to present the rules to everybody. Obviously I have to present them when we approve them, but I mean, I may need to present and say like, hey, can you give me some input on this particular matter? So that would be probably something I would be trying to do in the next couple of meetings. That's it.
Yeah, awesome. So moving on, and as you guys can see, does somebody have their microphone? Sorry, I was just hearing it. Big feedback. As far as committee reports go, as you guys can see, it's the next on the agenda. I wanted to just brush over them, not so much brush them over to the side, but just brush over. I think it's important, and Treasurer Rawashde was talking about a different time that you can meet up. I think it'd be almost disadvantageous to not take advantage of the time we have that we can meet literally in the snap of our fingers. So if it is a committee, and I'm speaking to the board and the 2 senators who do run a committee, I wouldn't say schedule one for every week or have one scheduled or do something of intensity every week. But as soon as we are okay with becoming stagnant and missing out on some of the processes we do, is whenever we go into it a new year, be like, oh, well, we survived without that last semester. So I would pressure the e-board and all of you guys who partake in one of these, that now that I've spoke to some people, sometimes the Zoom opens it up for people because instead of that 10 or 15 minutes you're walking to class or going to eat lunch, you can sit in a committee meeting and do that the same way. So I don't want to add any extra burden, but I also feel as though this would be a good opportunity to take advantage of the time that we have to sit and do these Zoom meetings. And again, for things such as like student life and those committees, there may not be something of dire need every single week, and that's not what I'm asking for, as much as like now we can all take place in or take part in communications committee, because if Secretary Jennings happens to do a meeting a week, you know, the availability of us is open. And that's kind of that's kind of my call, and that's kind of what I'm trying to say. Is everyone so kind of my call, and what I'd like to put out there is like, take advantage if one of the e-board members, or if Senator Reed or Senator Roberts decides to kind of pull something together, take advantage of that, and take advantage of the time that you may just be sitting, or you may be in between doing your homework or something. It would just take 30 minutes, and it could help us stay connected. And even if you don't end up talking about the committee subject particularly, maybe you can take advantage and learn something new, learn what somebody else is talking about. So moving on, student voice reports, and I want to kind of elaborate on what our thoughts are on this. As you guys can see, there's no one specifically, or I do have those down there, but one thing that the e-board talked about last week, whenever we were originally not even aware of the fact that we're going to be online for the rest of the semester, is making sure people are speaking, and making sure that we're not designating or leaving anyone out. So the first 3 points, how is each area responding and things like that, those were just kind of like, if you don't know what questions to answer, if we asked you to speak and you're like, wow, I don't even know what I should say, those are kind of the pointers. I know Advisor Nees had a lot of say in those, and I think there are really good points, because you could say, these are the people I'm talking to. How is each area responding? How has the experience been? What are senators doing to outreach to students? And you could just kind of go off these points. I wouldn't restrict yourself to them, but I also would say that this could kind of be a good means, or a good rubric of, hey, these are points that I can hit at. So just to update, I'm sure a lot of what we say in student voice reports will swing back around to what we just discussed with the president and many of those people. But I would just pressure you guys to do that every week that we have these meetings, even if it's something you saw on Twitter, because again, it's just like, as soon as we become stagnated and going, okay, I'm okay with just sitting at my computer all day and not doing that, and taking advantage of the fact that everyone is now sitting at their computers, let's take advantage of the fact that, we are all very far away, but we're also all in a central place. We are disconnected, but we're also more connected than we are sometimes on campus, because I have to say, I take advantage of Twitter to know the opinion of students as well. So we'll start off, and just because I don't have any particular order on here, I think I'm just going to go with the order that I have. So I'll just go with the order that I have on my Zoom meeting. So the first one is Senator Ramirez, and then we'll go down if that's okay. So it'll be Senator Ramirez, Senator Williams, Senator Brooks. I don't know if it's in a similar order for you guys. I don't mean, and I see Senator Ramirez making a face, I don't mean to jump on anyone. And I would stress that it's not really high pressure, but I think this is really just a means of, we've got to stay on this. We can't stagnate. We can't go, oh, well, no one's on campus. That's not what I'm thinking. So even if it's a kind of a review of what we just spoke about, even if it's like, man, I really don't know, guess what? I'm in the same boat, because I don't know on a lot of things too. So if you're nervous to say that, don't worry about that, because at the same time, we're all confused. So if you're confused, or if you're not confused, I'm really going to be talking to you, because I'm going to be really surprised at the fact that you're not confused. So if that's okay, and again, if you don't have anything, then do not worry. But I want to just keep that pressure up. I would hope that it's not nothing every week. So Senator Ramirez, I'll go ahead and unmute you, and then we'll go down. Senator Williams will be next.
So what I've been doing since like spring break started is I've actually gone back to the Tyler campus, and I'm kind of planning whenever I go back every so often to like check on like residence housing, and also people that are there like still that can't go home. And there's definitely been a fear of I have to get kicked out because they don't want people here on campus. But I've been trying to update people that I know that are still on campus that just don't have the means to go home right now, because either their parents can't pick them up and they don't have a car, or they live in a different like country typically, and they just don't have the money for plane tickets / you just can't go overseas right now. So it's been better than I thought in terms of like actually getting some communication from people. The online stuff, labs are definitely a fun thing to try to navigate. And I know that like lab professors and all are trying to like help us, but still, I haven't heard anyone that's taking labs is like, oh, I actually like it better online. So yeah, that's all I can really report on.
Awesome. No, that's totally okay. And I mean, that's a good idea. Now, I would stress, just for the safety of others, that and I don't want anyone to get in trouble for returning to campus, but that's actually a great idea to be checking on those people in that way. And I think that is one of the biggest worries I find, or that I'm seeing. And even for myself, as far as returning to campus, I'm on campus right now. And I think that's a big worry, because I think it's like, wow, I don't even know if I can focus on school because my mom's calling me to wash the dishes or something like that. And that's what some people are worrying on, in addition to, hey, I don't even live in this country. I don't even know if I'll be able to go back to my own home for 2 or 3 months. So moving on to Senator Williams, and I'll unmute you so we don't get in a weird tug of war. There you go.
Okay, so I'm very lucky that with my job with the Dean of the College of Education Psychology, I still get that communication with him. And he's been telling me that a lot of education majors and people applying for grad schools are very stressed out right now because all of the testing centers are closed. So people can't take their certification tests, they can't take their GRE, they can't take their LSAT, all of that stuff. So people are just really stressed about that. And there hasn't really been any words like said to students, like what's gonna happen, because like for me, like you have to take your teacher certification exam before you can move on to the next level. And I'm very lucky I've already done that, but there's some people who haven't. So they're stressed about that. And then this is more of a housing thing, but a lot of people are very upset on how housing has been like telling them, hey, you have this day to move out, because like some people are moving out on a Wednesday and like they don't have family that can come help them on a Wednesday. So that's just very hard, like with that sort of thing. But that's basically it.
No, thank you, Senator Williams. And I think that is important. I know you asked that question just earlier with the provost there, but I think that'll be the best line. I think that's the top of the line for one in regards to academics. But I think by going that way, I think if somebody's going to have a direct route to changing or changing those things around, is going to be Dr. Mimran. So moving down my list, and again, sorry for doing this list way. I just didn't, I was not prepared in that. So it'd be Senator Brooks next, and then after that, I just want to give you guys a little heads up. It'd be Senator Asbury, Senator Reed, and then Senator Roberts. I got it. There we go. That's perfect.
Okay, cool. Hi, y'all. So I had my first Zoom meeting yesterday for pathophysiology, which is all of the pre-nursing students. I'm kind of lucky because a lot of our subject is already ready to be put online. The labs already had videos and assignments for that. And then A&P already had an online version. So now everyone's just in that version. And then pathophysiology has been moved online like to the best of the ability. Like I think everyone preferred it before, but like no one's really complaining right now. The big thing everyone is worried about right now is to getting to nursing school, part of it is you need your CPR certification. And with everything right now, students aren't able to get that, between knowing where they're going to live and like how school's going on, to some of them just being not offering classes right now. As far as I'm aware, our professor, when I spoke to her, she said that they might extend the deadline for that until classes might start being offered before that. And that's all I've really heard from my area. Senator William, I had a thing about your housing. I think I'm still here right now at Victory Village, and I know they said they have students on a certain, you can only go in on this day to move out. Most people are kind of ignoring that from what I've seen, and so they're not really enforcing it. So I think they kind of just did that so like to give students like the option, like to be as safe as possible. But I think if any other students are asking, I think most of the faculty would agree that as long as you communicate with your roommates, they won't really mind when you move out or how you move out. And then that's the end of my report.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Moving on again down the line, it'd be Senator Asbury next, and then again to remind you guys, Senator Reed, Senator Roberts, and then I believe Senator Rodriguez after. Oh, he's already unmuted. Look at that.
I'm pretty sure any of the student voice reports that I had, I've already brought up. So yeah, no, I didn't have anything else I wanted to bring up. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. And something I want to touch on, and not so much a critique of what you guys have done. On the one of the questions to think of as you're moving forward, and for those of you guys who haven't answered yet, and the first question is, how is each area responding? And I believe Josh's original intention for that question was like, how is the College of Business, and then even more specifically, how is the marketing department and in the College of Business, how are they teaching their students differently? How have they responded to it? And then even more is like, how is the political science department? How is the nursing department? And there's no nursing and health sciences, but how is the nursing department breaking it down? And how are they, because it's going to be different. Nursing students, I've never touched a lab in my life. How are they doing something different and stuff like that? So that's kind of like the question we go into, and that's as easy as reaching out. Again, on these Zoom meetings. In the past, it's really required to have 2 meetings with your dean. And I think this is one of those perfect opportunities. Like if you don't typically have the physical ability to go to those rooms and meet with those people, I think this is going to be one of the best times, and they're really open to it right now. And I think that's going to be the best way to connect to those. And I'd really stress that because we haven't required in the past, and you could have the ability to have it required. And I think that having that link is going to be your best bet. So moving on to Senator Reed, I'll go ahead and unmute you.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So, it's only 2 days in. I would like if you have tips, or if anybody has tips of ways that you can reach out remotely to students. I definitely appreciate those tips. The only people I've really been able to reach out to is my fellow honors students. I'm in honors. And it's too early to tell, who's struggling and who isn't, just because, we're 2 days into it. But I think that I'm going to take committee meetings. You talked about possibly having committee meetings. I think that, since there really isn't much to talk about with sustainability because, nobody's there at the moment, nothing's being used, or not very many people are there at the moment. I think I can definitely use the meeting space to talk about maybe some people that we can help instead. I thought about, like seeing if there's something that we could do as a committee for, say, international students. Just so I'm going to try to have a meeting or several meetings over the rest of the semester and see if there's anything that my committee members can do personally, somehow remotely, maybe to, maybe help international students, or to let them know, hey, we care. We know that you can't go back to your home, so we want you to feel like you have somebody that cares about you and wants to know that you're okay. So I think that's one thing that I'm going to try to do over the next few weeks. That's all for me.
Awesome. And Treasurer Awashde.
Yes, if I may, Senator Reed, you mentioned you have some concerns about reaching out to students and such. And Josh, you can correct me if I'm wrong, President Menhene. You can do 2 things. If you have a concern regarding international students, I believe you can get with Miss Cynthia Martinez. I believe she's the director for international students, or she's the director of the program for international students, and let her know that you're there and you're willing to help. Another thing that you can do, and this is a cool trick on Canvas, is where you go to Canvas and whatever class you're in, you click on people, and you're able to send everyone one big message saying, hey, my name is so-and-so. I'm looking to see if anyone needs any additional help. If so, contact me at so-and-so. There are many ways to actually reach out to students, and I think the only issue is just, being able to actually reach out to them. So you have multiple outlets, but I would say if your concern is international students, again, try to get in contact with Cynthia Martinez. She should be able to help you navigate that.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on, we'll move to Senator Roberts, and then we'll go down. After that, it'll be Senator Rodriguez and Senator Forrester. So I'll unmute you. Oh, you're already unmuted.
Hear me?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So I guess how we're responding as University Pines, everything has been very hectic. A few days ago, I sent an email out to our manager, Cartwright, Mr. Cartwright, and as far as RHA and everything that on that side of thing, it's been completely halted. We're looking on coming back and taking a look at that about 3 weeks from now. Obviously, with many of us being at home and not on campus, it's kind of hard to talk with constituents, seeing that I'm a housing constituent, or I report to housing constituents. So I'll definitely try to look into Canvas and see if I can get in touch with people by that way. But yeah, no, everything's just been kind of halted as far as RHA, and as far as our committee goes, I might look into helping other areas rather than housing as of now, since there's nothing that I can do in that area right now. And that's all I have.
Yeah, and that's perfect. I think. Oh, do you have something to say, Parliamentarian Ray?
I actually had a question for Senator Roberts. So, Senator Roberts, what is your position? Describe to me how the RHA system works. You're a senator for the SGA, correct? What
yes.
is your position?
Sorry?
What is your senator position called?
University Pines, Senator for University Pines.
Okay. So then when you talk about RHA, I'm just unfamiliar with it, so everybody else may know, but when you talk about RHA, it's its own organization, right? And you just happen to be in both of them?
Yes, it's the housing government equivalent.
Okay, so when we make any statements in here, you would be part of that organization as well. The question is, are all of the RHA students senators also, or is that just you?
Are supposed to be, but just me and Maneko for now.
Okay, so you're in the process, and I guess we're in the process of kind of integrating those two together, correct?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I just, when I was doing the rules, there's a lot of things that I don't exactly understand on that side of things, so I was just curious to get a couple questions out. I appreciate it.
So Joshua Neves has something to say. Sorry, I'm bigger now, man.
So, Robert, that takes effect in the fall if this passes, this vote. We got ahead of the system a little bit just to go ahead and start working on that setup. So as housing positions were open, we tried our best to fill through RHAs that were already established. So that way, come fall, when we move forward with the new constitution, it would be more seamless with that. And so the idea is that the senators from each housing would be speaking on behalf of RHA of that facility and all the residents in that facility. In the event that RHA fails to produce a senator after the new constitution kicks in, then SGA will still have the ability to find a resident that lives in that facility to serve as a senator, and they will still be able to speak on behalf of the students that live in the hall.
Yep. So anything else to add, Senator Roberts?
Oh, sorry. So I'm gonna try to speak with the other housing, other housing presidents of their respective facilities and seeing what they're doing. That way, next week I can kind of get a sense of what's going on in the other places other than University Pines, of course.
Yeah, no, that's good. And again, as we've spoken about in the past, is as many students as we can have representing the housing is, I think it's really important. It represents close to 1/5, if not more, of students on campus. So I think, but no, that's awesome. Thank you, sir. Moving on, so Senator Rodriguez, let me unmute you really quick.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Sure. So for the Souls College of Business, I've been in discussion with the Souls ambassadors quite a bit, and we've been thinking about having our next meeting next week to discuss, how things have been really hectic for us, how are we going to resume things like recruitment and discussing of following events, because I know that some clubs, like FMA, for instance, had decided to before classes were going to go completely online, they were thinking, oh, okay, we'll just meet up and then just that'll be it. But I need to get in touch with the president for FMA to see if they're actually going to resume meetings, kind of like what we're doing right now, through Zoom, or is it just going to be, done for the whole year? But I know for Souls Ambassadors that we are going to be basically going over recruitment and things like current changes in administration, because we are going to have a new dean. I don't know when, but I know this one's leaving. Yeah. All right. That's about it.
Okay, awesome. And moving down, Senator Forster, and then after that, it'll be Senator Stabenow and Senator Barakat. So let me unmute you really quick. Sorry, I gotta get a hang of it. I'll get it figured out. There you go.
I guess I was pretty fortunate in terms of classes, just because most of my teachers there's already not really a reason to go to class. So I don't have any Zoom meetings with any teachers or anything like that. One has already started recording her classes, and the other ones are just like business as usual, really, other than you won't see me kind of thing. I do want to hit on also, I'm a part of a racing team at the engineering department, and just to tell y'all what's going on over there, since they're not on the voice report for this week, is in terms of the engineering students who have a physical project they need to do. It was down to, I believe, 6 people per room for the lab that they can work on stuff. And I believe starting Tuesday or yesterday, it started to where there can only be 2 people per team per room, which there's only 2 of them, to work on their actual physical projects and engineering RBN 1007, I believe it is. So in terms of that, and then of course all international competitions are out of the way. So we had a competition we're going to go to in Arizona to race our Baja vehicle, but it's canceled. So, and they're actually passed or failed on if they make it to competition. And as what I've heard from the deans is that they will check out how much you've done with your project, and if it's good to them, then you pass, that kind of thing. So on that, it's kind of iffy on what their fate will be in terms of their projects. Because also, if you can only have 2 people per team, and these teams are about like 10 people each to be able to work on them, it's also a thing of, will you even get done in the first place? Is your team members there to work on it, that kind of thing? Since people don't start till their senior year. If their senior project, that's how they pass, just like a capstone. That's how people pass with that class. So other than that, that's pretty much it from me. But I'll keep you updated on what they say, what will happen, what their fate will be if they can't finish their project. So
yeah, thank you. Moving on to Senator Stabenow.
I think Senator Ray had something to say about it.
Oh, did he? Sorry, I'm not.
That's okay. So I'm just curious, do you have an internship you're doing?
Me? Do I have an internship?
Are you doing any type of internship?
No, I have an internship in the works, but I don't believe I'll get it anymore because, they probably won't be hiring anyone. Okay. If you want to know about internships, so I know 3 people had internship with Delic, and last week they were told, don't come anymore, just leave. So they were terminated over the whole Corona thing, stuff like that. Not that people weren't still going to work, but they're cutting their costs, with having an intern over there. Even though I do know that some people have different jobs where they're able to work from home. But with all the people I've talked to, at least Delic has cut all their interns from working.
Which I know the tough thing about that, I know a few of those students as well, and the tough thing about that is as part of their grade at the university. So we'll definitely have to make sure that I'll be trying to keep up with those students and making sure that there's something done correctly about that, because they don't need to lose their college credit in the case of losing their internship. Good to go.
Yep. Awesome. So moving on, Senator Stabenow, I'll get you unmuted. I think, no, it didn't punch it. It still didn't do it. Oh, there it did it.
Yep. So all of the psychology students that I've spoken to, and in my personal experience, the psychology department is doing great. Most of our professors are really good at the whole technology thing and being able to do Zoom classes or recorded lectures. So that's been really good. We don't have the same problem as the education department with a certification test. There is a test that we take at the end of our senior year, but so far I haven't heard any students talking about that there's been a problem with that, that's being worked out and it's fine. So that's been really good. And since we don't have any fine arts students from the College of Arts and Science, all of their studio art classes have moved to a research paper because you can't do studio art online. So that department has worked itself out really well. And all of the art history classes have really suited themselves to moving online pretty easily. So the two departments that I'm aware of have done a really good job of managing this transition and being in contact with students. I probably haven't gone a day since spring break that I haven't heard from at least two professors, so they've been doing a pretty good job.
Awesome. Is that all?
Yep, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, ma'am. Moving on, Senator Bearcat. You moved around in my order, but we're just going to keep that because I believe I had said that you're now unmuted, sir.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Not much. I've talked to a lot of the students that I have via Canvas, like I think Treasurer Washington said before. A lot of them, I have no complaints. Everyone says that the Zoom things they do and the lectures that they listen to are all working fine. A lot of people like it better that it's online. They say they have a higher chance of getting higher grades. I know that's not the case for some people, and some classes aren't going to be like that. But maybe since I'm a freshman, that's why it works out for most of the students my age or my year. I don't know. That's it. And I mean, everyone's doing well. There's not that many complaints at all, really. I mean, I don't know. I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Moving on, Senator Long, and then right after that, Senator Botter. Beep.
Cool. Yeah, so like Senator Stabenow was saying, the psych department, I think, has been doing a really good job of being communicative and adjusting really well. Even with like the honors program, they've been adjusting pretty well with everything like that, because there were a lot of setbacks with some research conferences, and those are requirements for graduation, but they've been really accommodating and understanding. The honors advisor, Katie Stone, is now like hosting like weekly meetings just to reach out with students, which I think is a really good idea that maybe other deans and stuff could catch on to. And then she really is the best. And then I've really been able to reach out to the most students through housing and everything. I'm still working as an RA on campus. And so a lot of people have been moving out. I know there's a lot of concerns about housing, like when it comes to being asked to move out at a certain time. No one's going to tell you no if you want to move out early. Or later, really. Don't quote me on that, but the schedule they sent out was just to try and keep as much social distancing as possible, not to limit you to one day. It's really just a communication between roommates to make sure y'all aren't crossing paths. If that date that was set for you isn't convenient or accessible for you. And then a lot of the housing people, a lot of the residents I've reached out to have been a little bit stressed just with the online transition. I talked to a nursing student today. They were not having a good time. But other than that, like, my college has been doing pretty good. I think everybody's adjusting pretty well. So yeah.
Awesome. So thank you, Senator Long. And last but certainly not least, Senator Botter. Oh, I have to unmute you. I'm sorry, dude. I'm going to figure it out. I was just getting the real one down, in person down. And now they're asking me to hit buttons whenever I do it. That's crazy.
Can you guys hear me now?
taking care of it before, but you started to do it, so I was trying to let you, but I can hit them still.
Awesome. So
yeah, one thing I was going to suggest with this is I think we might be able to self-police on just muting ourselves and unmuting ourselves when called upon. That might make it easier on y'all.
Correct. We thought about that if it were just us. There are other people as well.
Right. Yeah.
Thankfully, the other people have been perfectly cooperative and hadn't had any problems out of them, but there is a large potential for somebody to show up and cause problems. And we already got a couple emails from people at the university that said that there were some problems with it and make sure that this was the way we did it.
Okay. Yeah.
But I agree. I feel like y'all could have freely taken care of it.
Yeah. But as for my classes, only one of them has been doing Zoom, and he was struggling. So we'll see next week if that professor kind of gets the hang of teaching that way. And I haven't really heard a whole lot from my other professors. They're supposed to upload videos. I think one of them has, but the others, it's kind of been radio silence. But also I've seen a lot of people were worried about graduation, so it's good to hear that we're still doing it, especially being able to include those summer graduates as well. And for UPines with the refunds, I know you guys mentioned that earlier. I know Matt Cartwright is still working on it. As of right now, I'm kind of in job limbo since I'm in Houston and was asked to self-terminate myself instead of coming back, because I left for spring break and they told me not to come back just because they're minimizing staff right now. But from my understanding, they're still working on potentially doing some sort of reduced cancellation fee or anything like that. I know a lot of people are upset about basically being asked to leave, but also being told they have to pay to do it. Yeah. And then before all of this happened, I had been working on getting mobile student ID cards. So basically having your student ID on your phone. I had a meeting with Blackboard Transact, who are the ones that manage our current student ID system, and they do support it. It's just something additional that the university has to support. So next week, I'll probably have more information for y'all. I planned on reaching out to the president of SGA over at the University of Alabama, since whenever I spoke with the rep from Blackboard Transact, he said that their SGA had actually been the ones that convinced the university to go ahead and support it. So I'm going to reach out to them and see if I can get more info on the kind of things that they had to deal with adding it. But I think overall, not having to have your student ID physically with you and just having your phone will be super helpful, especially for like paying with dining dollars and all of that. But yeah, that's all I have.
Dude, that would be sweet. I totally want my card on my phone. That would be so cool. So moving on, I guess, seeing as there's no more people down the list, moving on to old business. As you guys could see, I would have included, or I originally had the fee increases as I brought up to the president and Ms. Ona, whether or not we'd be moving forward with them. That was originally my thoughts. Some of the thoughts that they had, I would feel as a lot of it was my concern for students. I know we wanted to, and we're pushing that out. I know Secretary Jennings did a lot of work on what we're going to do. She even had all the popsicles ordered so we could do a cool little fun activity. But obviously, I think there's some advantages to that. We can really take a step back, really analyze what it is, really figure out what it is that students would be benefiting from, and then in the future we'd be able to educate on those things. So whenever we look at these things, obviously those things are to be brought up, but I think that was just the one I want to be cautious of. So we won't have to linger on that one long for now. I think it's for anyone who is planning to be here in the next 2 semesters after this one. It's going to be something of high concern because there's going to be so many people. There's going to be so many people affected by it, and that was the original thought. But as of now, it's as they said, and whenever it's someone as them saying it, I think it's important to note, and I believe so. I mean, if the Senate so thinks that we vote ourselves to do it, then we can do that, or we can just progress further. We can announce it. I think that would be at least a question of discussion. How does SGA want to move forward? Do we want to vote to announce that we're no longer moving with it, but see it later? Or does anybody have, by show of small emoji hands, does anybody have anything to add to that? None. So do we want to just move forward as if we're just not, as if it was just going to keep it going? Do we want to make a formal announcement, say, hey, the SGA, given the thoughts of administration, staff, faculty, and what we feel for students, feels that at this time it's not the best thing, something along that line? Yes? No? Oh, let's see. Let's see how I move this down. Oh, you're on the same page. Here we go. Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So I think we should give a formal announcement just to keep students up to date and informed, because this is a crucial time where we need to keep our communication up to standard and not, on the sly. I find it somewhat disappointing that we had such a very, very important meeting. Not a lot of students were a part of it. So I think the best that we can do as SGA is at least give them that formal announcement of what's going on and where SGA stance is for the students. So I am in agreement with you. I think we should give out a formal announcement, just something quick, short, concise, and to the point, nothing too big or anything confusing in that matter. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if we should move forward. I mean, I could set up a small poll thing. I don't know if that's something we should do and keep in mind of. Let me see. Do you guys feel that we should do that, or should we just make a sort of decision of sorts that, because that's what the president and the VP for Student Success would have us do, that we just move forward that way, and then we can announce it, do like an Instagram post or something like that. I could write a letter of some kind.
So you're making a statement that we are going to deny even putting it on the ballot?
Oh yeah, so that's what I was hoping for. Josh had something to say about it before I try to answer that question. Yeah, Josh?
I think it'd be easier to stop sharing your screen. I don't think there's nothing else on the agenda that's really important for everybody to see. So that way it can go back to grid view. And if you're not on grid view or gallery view, click on gallery view at the top right. And that way you can see everybody for the most part. There's a few videos that are not on, but that's okay. And then with that being done, I would encourage or entertain a motion to table all referendums, proposed referendums to fall 2020.
Seconded.
Gotta move it first.
Oh, okay. I move to move what we had just discussed about to the fall referendum of 2020. I don't remember what you said word for word. I'm sorry.
So it was motion. Well, it was motion and seconded. So the motion is to postpone any referendums for any proposed fee increases to next fall. Is that correct?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So
by
Josh. Yeah. By show. Okay. So everyone is available for a show of hands. So
we could potentially use the reactions. Can you see that?
No, we'll just do by show of hands on the camera. Is that okay?
Okay, we can do that also. Yeah.
So all those in favor, please say aye, or you don't have to say aye if you're muted. Just by show of hands, showing your hand is yes. So all those in favor? Those who are opposed? And those who abstain? Okay, so we'll do that. I think it is also important with that we acknowledge it, and I think it's not going to be ever too late to let people know and to take advantage of that. So not so much we're not going to be educating until next semester, but I think with the people who are going to be moving forward and into next semester, that we can always be optimizing how we're going to educate people on that, because as we know, I don't think it's better to overeducate. So, but with that done, does anybody have anything else to add to old business? We need to add good ideas to new business? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so moving on to new business. Now, I didn't have anything on the agenda, but does anybody have anything to add? Does anybody have anything that we missed? eBoard, is there anything that it needs to be discussed and for new business? Yeah, Parliamentarian Ray.
I guess it would still be on the same topic we're on. I had mentioned this earlier. Should we reach out to the people that came to us and requested those funds changes first so that they know before we send out anything official?
So you're saying reach?
I don't want them finding out through a full email to the whole student body.
So you're saying reach out to Dr. Howard Patterson, Rick McGill, and Dr. Kim Laird and say, yeah, so Josh is giving a thumbs up. So just because I want to make sure, because I was a little bit confused, but reach out to those three people and say the SGA and advice of and thoughts of our own selves for the students and the thoughts of President and VP Ona that we're going to be postponing it till next semester. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and for their own consideration as well. Like, part of our reasoning for doing it is we're pretty confident that students would be wanting to deny their requests. So we don't want to send it out right now and get it denied.
Yeah, and of course, I think that's something I could work on doing. I can get out to those people and contact them and just let them know. And then I might, between now and then, and especially during the end of the semester, have discussions with them of how we could do, and based on the thoughts we already had, how we could advance it and make sure that it's optimized for next semester. So did you still have something to say, Treasurer Wawashde?
No, pretty much Parliamentarian Ray said what I was going to say, so thank you.
Okay, so does anybody have anything else, anything to add to new business? Okay, so seeing none, moving on to Advisor Super Saiyan Master Jedi Neebs.
All right, so a couple things. I think this was a good run at using Zoom. I think this is a good opportunity for y'all to kind of get the same feelings that our distance campus senators. I know we haven't had any this academic year, but in the past when we've had senators from Longview, Powell, and Houston, this is the exact experience that they face every week. And so this is a good opportunity for us to make this experience better. So that when things do return back to normal, we can try to keep our distance students still, involved through Zoom. As a reminder, I think David and a few others and Dr. Swain mentioned that this was only day 3 going to an online format. And so hopefully by next week, all of you will have a better sense of how the experience is for other students. My encouragement to you is you represent a set of constituents. And so do your best. I know it's real easy to talk about your experiences, but really make sure that you're also advocating on the behalf of all the other students. And so it's not perfect. And so it was a good balance to hear tonight, the good and the bad. And I think cabinet does care. And every day's different. You know, the county's consistently in contact with us, and we're working with them to making sure we're compliant, and it can change tomorrow. You never know. And so I think the leadership at UT Tyler has done a good job of trying to stay ahead of this as much as we possibly can and make sure that everybody's safe, all of our students are safe, and make sure that all of the employees are safe. And so I know there was a comment made about residents really not following the guidelines for whatever reason. My advice to that is to over communicate and to reach out and say, hey, this time does not work for XYZ. And the housing team will be accommodating, but it is for the safety of not only for the students involved, but the staff. I think that's really important that the staff are still being asked to come up and to help provide that service, even though we're being encouraged to stay home as well. And so even myself included, I plan on going up there, I think Friday and Saturday, to try to help with the checkout process. And so just keep that in mind, encourage other students that, yeah, we don't have the answers right away, but we're trying to make the best decision for the students and for future as well. Robert, I mentioned it earlier about elections, and so I've advised the executive board on how to handle elections for moving forward. And so we're going to roll over the officer ballot into the senator ballot like we did like we used to do back several years ago. So both the officers election and senator elections will take place together. And so for all the officer candidates that were supposed to be on the ballot, you do not have to do anything extra. It will be moved over automatically, and you do not have to do another candidacy meeting. Regarding candidacy meetings for senators, if you are going to run and officers, you are also able to run for a senator spot as well. That was the process that used to be done back in the day, that you could run for an officer position and senator, as many senator spots as you want. We're not going to set up the senator ballot just yet. The Constitution changes will go out at midnight tonight that y'all already approved. And so hopefully encourage students it takes less than 10 seconds to vote. So have them log in, and hopefully we'll get enough votes to pass this thing. And so that way the new Constitution can kick in. After that has been decided, if it is approved, regardless if it's approved or not, we will then set up the senator ballot application. So where you can apply to also be on the senator ballot. And then candidacy meetings do start next week. And so go to the SGA election page and you will see all the candidacy meeting times. And they will all be Zoomed with me. And so if none of the times work, you email SGA or myself, and I will schedule a one-on-one with you. If you do not communicate with me before the last candidacy meeting, then per the Constitution, the current Constitution, I do not think I am allowed to do another one. And so I'll have to go back and double check that. So definitely try to make one of those meeting times. They're broody. They're not the most entertaining, but it's just a formality that we got to do to make sure that we do elections right, so we do not have any hiccups ever again. The rules are the same, except that really the only way for you to campaign is going to be online. And so I think next week we can talk about potentially some different ideas on how we can help with campaigning. And so I will, to make sure that it's fair and that no candidate is pushing their agenda, I will probably lead that discussion next week, as long as we don't have a lot of guest speakers, and talk about some different ideas and facilitate that conversation on how to help get the word out about those who are going to be running. And then I think last but not least, the student engagement, we're not stopping. We're full steam ahead. We're trying to program for students. I think we've had 3 Kahoots. And so we've had a lot of participation with students. And if you place in the 3, you are still getting a prize. We're going to mail you your prize. And so my team has done a great job of trying to engage students. And a lot of y'all are extroverts. And so some of you are missing your friends deeply. Introverts, you were born for this. You're thriving and loving it like I am, because I'm an introvert. But extroverts, we want to make sure, and really introverts too, we want to make sure that we're giving students the opportunity to still engage and connect with one another. So we're going to keep trying to come up with more ideas to get students to connect with, whether it's an open Zoom meeting or a Netflix party chat, or we're looking at trying to take Kahoot and making it live. So that way you can participate all at the same time together, so that way you can see everybody's reaction and talk some friendly competition with one another. So we're trying to get creative just to keep you all engaged, because I know these 4 to 5 weeks are going to be stressful, and sometimes that engagement is kind of a good way to get away from what's happening in the world and to relax a little bit. Any questions for me? Okie dokie.
So, well, I say no questions. Senator Botter was just communicating with me, and one of the guests who's in the chat with us, JT, is actually, oh, he raised his hand. Oh, no, you didn't raise your hand. Oh, he raised his hand again. But JT was requesting to join. I don't know. I missed it in new business. I just got distracted, and I don't know if we're out of the criteria. I guess you give us advice. I just want to make sure we have the precedent that we've always done. I don't mean to make anyone miss out. I mean, but what do you think, Josh? Unmute really quick.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry. I have the habit of muting myself, and so just to make sure for various reasons. So a couple things. Back, you mentioned David, and that got me thinking. Back to the ID real quick. It's going to cost a lot of money if we move to an electronic ID card. Every door where you would physically swipe in or proxy in potentially could have to change, because electronic cards may not pick up the same reader. And so I caution that. But Chris Marquez, I know she's explored that in the last year or so. And so she should have all the data from Blackboard and other companies that she explored when doing that. That would also greatly impact our student engagement platform, because if students are not carrying around their student ID, then it's going to delay the check-in process, because then now we're going back to having to punch the number in, or we're going to have to invest in the electronic check-in, which costs a lot more money on our side as well. So there's pros and cons to doing that. So that's my, is it worth the convenience? That's the only caution I have. As far as new members, as long as you have quorum, you are able to conduct business. Therefore, it's the same process. So what he would have to do is you go through the same process when he quote unquote leaves the room. One of the hosts will have to leave the Zoom, and then once they are done discussing, he would be invited back and then sworn in, if approved, of course. So same process.
Josh, do you think that we can do it during this period, or should we wait till next week?
You can do it during this period. So I'm technically new business. It's just I'm on the agenda, so I'm not. I don't necessarily apply to the rules, I guess, as far as having to be approved to talk.
So you guys heard it here first. Josh is a rule breaker, and even if the agenda says it, he doesn't have to follow it, and that's what he thinks. Nope. Just kidding. So so I guess I would entertain a motion to for an appointment hearing for JT, and I apologize, JT, if I say it wrong. JT Foote. Does anybody?
There we go.
Yeah. So.
Hi. Yes,
yeah.
It's Foote.
Yeah. Okay. And JT, what is the position, or what center position is it that you want to be appointed for?
I would like to appoint for the Schools College of Business position.
Okay. So this is how it typically goes. Usually, if there's a room that you can stand before the Senate in, but now you're just figuratively standing before the Senate and your little digital head in your room there. So Typically it is. You can just stand up, and in this case, like I said, you're in this room with us. But just tell us a little about yourself, why you want to do this, and then after that, as Josh said, you would step out or leave the Zoom and tell someone, and I guess whoever can get you back in or whoever can privately contact you to get back in after we've discussed will do so. So, sir, you have the floor.
All right, so I'm JT Foote, as he said. I'm a junior information technology major with a music minor, and I'm taking classes in the College of Business. And so I'm also an RA on campus at Liberty Landing. And so one of the main reasons that I want to, I guess, be appointed for this position is because currently there isn't someone appointed for the College of Business, and I have a big interest in improving UT Tyler and helping out the community, and so that would give me a chance to take it one step further from being a part of campus and helping out as an RA to being on SGA, I guess.
Awesome. And so I just want to, and this is just to let you know, we already have, sorry, I said have 3 times there. We already have 2 College of Business senators, and we have 3 spots available, but there are 2 College of Business senators, and we actually have about 5 College of Business students that are here just within, or more than 5, but we have over 5 College of Business students, just to let you know that. And that's not so much of a critique, just to allow you to know, but there are 3 spots available, so the spot is still available. I'd like to open up the floor to anyone who has any questions, and they're free to ask questions elaborating on just about you and stuff like that. So look at that. Let's see. Treasurer Rawashde, I'll unmute you really quick.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. So, hi, JT. My name is Aya Rawashde. I'm the treasurer for SGA, and my previous position was this open position right now. So, I have a couple of questions for you. The first and foremost being is that you mentioned your major is IT with a minor in music, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So, what year are you?
I am a junior.
Okay.
However, there was a couple of scheduling issues, so I may not necessarily graduate as a senior.
It doesn't matter for me what graduate.
I have been here for 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to safely assume that you've developed certain relationships with faculty and staff. You know the deans, you know Dr. Rainwater, you've spoken with Dr. Beatty as well.
Yes.
Okay. And how would you say your relationships are with faculty and staff?
I think, especially with all of the faculty that I've taken classes from, I have a very good relationship with all of them. I think I have slightly lesser relationship with some of the staff in the College of Business itself, just because I've had less of a chance to meet with them privately or had necessarily a reason to, because I'm not a bad student, I guess. So that would definitely be something I would like to continue pushing for, but all the people that I do know, I know pretty well. So.
Okay. Have you met our current senators, Senator Gerardo Rodriguez and Senator Gus Forrester?
Possibly briefly, but not in an extended period.
Yeah, I mean, I met you just very briefly. I'm through Jalen, our common friend, and I have you in a class with the business plan one. I forgot what it's called, but yeah, I know him. Well, briefly, but so.
I don't know who this guy is. Nice to meet
Well,
you.
no, I just want to make sure that, if, you're interested in the position, you know who's already in it. I want to ask you, my last question is, how would you say your student involvement or student interaction with other Souls College of Business students are? And really, why do you want this position?
I think that's a good question. A lot of my, as of the last couple of years, a lot of my extracurricular time spent in UT Tyler was with music programs. So being in, things like the jazz band and the percussion ensemble and the wind ensemble and all that stuff gives me more time over there than it necessarily has in the past in the College of Business. But Especially in the last semester, I've started taking more classes devoted to my major that weren't just university core classes. And so it's allowed me to meet a lot more people. So I've been trying to be more active with people in the College of Business. So I think, especially in the future, because the next year, I think, will be almost all College of Business classes, I'll have a chance to have more interactions with more people than I have in the past. If that answers your question.
Kind of, but thank you for your response.
So does anybody have anything else to add or any questions? Okay, so seeing none. JT, we're gonna promptly kick you out of the Zoom chat, I suppose. But we'll make sure Senator Botter invites you back in. And before, Senator Ray.
Sorry, just some procedure stuff. What is your actual name?
My actual name is John Foote.
Okay. Are you on your student account right now?
I am not.
Okay, I was just checking. That was an easy way to bring you back into the meeting. So what I would say is, and you guys can verify this, do we want to just give a set time for him to jump back in?
I think it would be best to deliberate get everyone's thoughts on it, not within a certain time. If anyone has his contact information, once we're all done discussing, then we can let him back in.
Yeah, so Senator Botter will.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so then what I would say is you can go ahead and leave now, but because I would just remove you, but you can't join back in if we remove you. So it's easier if you just leave.
I will leave.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
Of course.
Who would have thought telling someone it's awesome for them to leave? So
I realized leave sounded cold, but
I think you understood the context. It wasn't in a mean-spirited
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So we have two people raising their hands. I saw Senator Williams first, so you go ahead. I'll unmute you. I think I beat Robert to it. Did I?
I did it also. So.
So JT's actually my RA. He's a nice dude. He's always asking me, like, how's it going on campus? And with him being an RA, I feel like he can reach a lot of people. And clearly he's been here and he's not afraid to talk to people, or like he wouldn't like approach me and ask me how it's going. So I think he'd be great.
Awesome. Thank you. Senator Botter.
Yeah, so I've known JT just through being RAs. He's always gone above and beyond, especially for the housing department, and trying to make sure that all of his residents and people that he's in contact with really stay in the loop, and that he knows what's going on with them and their classes. So I think as a senator, he would be really good in that aspect. And then I also know him from a few classes, and he's reached out to people in those classes, just housing related as well. So I think having him as a senator for the Souls College of Business would definitely be beneficial for the college.
Awesome. And we'll bebop over to Treasurer Wawashde.
So I don't know if you guys noticed, but I kind of like grilled him, but not really grilled him, but I asked him a few questions just to get a really good feel for him. There's just one thing I would like to point out is that I noticed how everyone mentioned how he's first and foremost an RA, and I think he would be best suited for a position within, and correct me Josh if I'm wrong, but any of our resident hall or RA positions that we're giving out. I don't know if there's any for Liberty Landing, but I think he would be best suited for that. Another thing he mentioned is how he did not know Gus or Gerardo, which I thought was a little bit concerning. It's not a big deal, but before I even joined, I knew who were the Souls College of Business senators prior to joining. So I think that just tells a little bit about him. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world if he does or doesn't. But I think we can possibly find someone who is better suited for this position. I think his strength is more, first and foremost, being an RA and connecting to students in his area, whereas as a Souls College of Business senator, maybe not. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, so Senator Botter.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw this out there. RAs aren't allowed to be a part of RHA. So he actually, even though he lives at Liberty Landing, works at Liberty Landing, he cannot represent Liberty Landing in SGA. So just wanted to toss that one out there.
Okay, and then over to Senator Long.
Yeah, so like I guess RAs could technically be senators if they if RHA doesn't offer positions in SGA, if that makes sense. But even then, I don't think it would be wise to put him in a housing position because this upcoming semester, housing is doing the hire system much more different than in past years. So they're just taking all the RAs that are being asked back and all the new RAs into one big potluck, and then each housing facility can pick who they want to go where. So no one's guaranteed to stay at the place that they're currently living. Or that they're currently working at. So he could be an RA at Liberty right now and be asked to be an RA at a completely different housing facility next semester. As far as that though, I do know that JT is, yes, he's very dedicated to his RA job, but I think JT's just one of those people that's just very dedicated to anything he gives his time to. He takes on extra positions and stuff like that, and he'll go out of his way. He's like one of those people that you ask him to do a task and he'll like go above and beyond just to make it like something worth everyone's time, which to me says a lot about his character. And he's just genuinely, I think, like a good guy that reaches out to people and that wants to hear what people have to say and really loves like solving issues for people. He's really big with IT, and I just very slightly mentioned an issue and he offered to come fix it for me and stuff like that. So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, so Senator Reed first and then Senator Forster after that.
Motion to vote on JT as a senator for Souls College of Business.
Seconded.
Seconded. So it was motion and seconded to vote on JT as a College of Business senator. So if those of you guys who don't have your cameras on, or if you don't have your camera on, then, or can you guys do that really quick just because that's what we did earlier? I don't know if that's possible, Hannah. Oh, no. So.
What is that background?
We're not talking about it. I'm driving. I'm sorry. Well, I'll explain later.
Okay. Well, no. Oof. Okay.
It's fine.
So
I'm just here.
Just to be curious of that. So all those in favor, by a show of hands, if you can, please say aye. If completely unable, use the emoji that looks like a hand being raised, but I think it's closing. It's clapping. So everybody who says aye is. Senator Rodriguez, is your hand up?
No, it is not.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to. So those
you good.
Those opposed, and those who abstain. Okay, so that passes. So call him back in, Vice President Cooper. Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Botter. Hey, do the clapping emoji, guys. Come on, just because we're here doesn't mean.
Should we wait till it's in? Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So do the clapping emoji. We love this. Oh yeah.
When a new senator is elected, so that's us clapping.
So yeah, Oh my gosh, you know what I have to do? I have to read the oath now. Okay. So. What was that?
Oh, never mind.
Okay, so let me find this, but the random clapping emojis, JT, means that you have in fact been appointed by the Senate to fill that position. So let me see if I can get to it. I've never done this online. I've done it about 175 times in person, but I have not done it online in my entire life. So we're crossing new bridges every day. Where are you? Okay, there. So as I get it pulled up, this will be one of those nifty oath things where you put your right hand up, and then whenever we get to the portion that says insert your name, you say your name, and then the office of, whenever we get to that portion, Souls College of Business Senator, if that works. Okay. So I guess we still have to do the right hand thing. So I insert your name.
I, John Foote,
do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I shall faithfully represent.
That I shall faithfully represent.
The interests of the student body.
The interests of the student body.
Of the University of Texas at Tyler.
Of the University of Texas at Tyler.
I shall dutifully uphold.
I shall dutifully uphold.
And preserve the Constitution.
And preserve the Constitution.
And bylaws of the student body.
And bylaws of the student body.
While ardently executing.
While ardently executing.
The office of.
The office of.
Insert the position.
Souls College of Business Senator.
Of the Student Government Association.
Of the Student Government Association.
At the University of Texas at Tyler.
Of the University of Texas at Tyler.
Awesome. Now we get to clap again. I think. There, I'm doing my clapping in the chat. Awesome. So, seeing as that is done now, JT, you are now, so whenever we motion to adjourn in just a few seconds, you as with the other senators have the right to vote on anything we do in our meetings. So, so I guess we're at the end. Anybody who I entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. Wait, somebody has to raise their hand, man. Oh, wait. Oh, Senator Williams gets to do it.
I had an announcement.
Oh, she had an announcement. Oh, my gosh.
Do I say that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this isn't like UT Tyler related, but it's still really good news to make people smile. So my sister, she's a medical school genius. I didn't get that gene. She just matched with Baylor College of Medicine for OB-GYN, and it's one of the best programs in the country. And she went to medical school with the UT system, so, it still kind of goes. But, thank you to everyone who, prayed and, all of that, and just really excited.
Yeah, I cannot do that. So I do not know anything about medical. You said medical? Yeah, medical is not me. Science, no. So give her an emoji thumbs up, more than an emoji thumbs up for me, because one is not enough. So I guess, here's another one. Oh, Senator Roberts.
I'm just seconding your motion to adjourn.
Well, I entertained a motion, so just for the sake of, sorry for all the rules, and it's tough for online, so it would have to be a motion and then seconded.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Okay, so all those in favor of adjourning by show of hands, say aye. And Hannah down there, we hear you metaphorically, Hannah. Those who oppose and any abstain. Okay, awesome. Bye, you guys. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. This is one of the longest in history. So you guys did it. We did it. This was tough, but you guys did it anyway. So thank you guys. Bye-bye.